What we're asking today is what would be the fairest and most appropriate way to introduce carbon taxes in Ireland. For example, one of the theories is that there should be a payment made to all low income households of whatever amount of money, which would offset, give them compensation. So if they reduce their carbon taxes, they're going to reduce the carbon use, they're going to be actually better off financially. And if they don't, well, at least they won't be worse off.
Well, what does that entail?
What would it entail is basically, say for example, they were putting, for pensioners, they were putting another 10 cents a litre on home heating oil. Well, they would work out what that would cost an old age pensioner and give them a carbon offset in payment. And then that pensioner could decide, okay, I'm going to insulate my house and I'm going to use that money for that, and I won't be worse off as a result.
That sounds like a good idea, yeah.
But what else? Do you think it's fair and appropriate that maybe the biggest polluters, who are businesses, should get off scot-free?
No, they shouldn't. The problem is in rural areas, some of the older houses do have, they haven't really access to anything to sort out the carbon situation.
Yeah.
Like those of us who live in the country and live in older houses have very little access to any kind of support on collecting things.
Yes.
Or you have to take it maybe 20 miles, even recycling.
Yes.
You know, we have to encourage that, we have to take it to Milford.
Yeah. And if you have carbon emissions on your petrol, carbon taxes on your petrol, then you're being taxed to try and be a good citizen and make sure you recycle.
Yes, yeah. If there's an easier way of recycling, I think it would be brilliant.
Yeah.
And if there was a certain tax, much preferable to the way it is.
And there's also to take into account that, like within Donegal, the public transport isn't as good as in the rest of the country.
Desperate. Apparently 60 or 70 years ago we had a better sources down our way. There's only one in the private enterprise. So CIE or the government don't bother doing anything in relation to it. And I mean, even if you do have a car or two cars or whatever, it can be very difficult at times to, go for an appointment to Letterkenny or to some hospital or whatever. Joe McHugh TD had suggested having a train system here. There's absolutely no public train, and there were 100 years ago. And we are a very neglected county, so all that sort of stuff would be very, very necessary at the moment. You TDs and politicians will do something about it, yes.
And maybe this will be the great hook for Dublin to actually listen to Donegal.
Chance to be a fine thing.
Thank you very much.
In rural places, I don't think public transport is as good as it possibly could be, whereas cities kind of like Donegal Town or Letterkenny have more of options. Whereas like I'm from Mallinhead, and there's only one bus that will take you out of Mallinhead into Cairn twice a day. But they go at really confusing times, and it doesn't really work for many people.
Mm-hmm. Especially if people are trying to commute for work or for study.
Definitely, yeah.
And Dublin will want to meet these standards, but if they want counties to meet the standards, they have to provide, instead of hitting people with a carbon tax, maybe actually provide a public service system so that people could have a viable alternative.
Yeah, I definitely think it would help anyway. Yeah, they would need to kind of pull it out of the bag now to kind of help everyone that's not in Dublin.
Yeah, exactly. And so I see you were travelling there. So where did you come in from?
Sligo.
Was it one of the private companies that brought you up? Or?
Yeah, Fido O'Donnell.
There we go. Okay, all right, look, thank you very much for your time. But we were thinking, how are people in Donegal actually supposed to go more green if the public transport system isn't actually viable?
Yeah, it's really a non-existent service, albeit that we have the local, the transport has increased. The local transport to where I live in Churchill has improved through the local link. So that has helped. But it's very, very fragmented. It doesn't suit everybody. It certainly wouldn't suit people with disabilities and people with access and mobility problems. And anybody that has an elderly relative or somebody who needs to have a lot of hospital appointments and doctor stuff, all that is really, people are reliant on taxis or family or neighbours. So I think...
So, which is really all cars still?
I really relying on cars still. Or even the rail system could be improved. The rail system currently only comes to Sligo. So people don't go all right in Lim again and relying on cars. And I personally travel to Cork a good bit, but I'm travel by bus mostly because there's no air link anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's another major factor.
Yeah, good interviews and that. I leave you some. What would you like? I give you some. Hear though soft you tread above me, and all my grave shall warmer, sweeter be. If you will bend and tell me that you love me, then I shall sleep in peace until you come to me. The pale moon was rising above the green mountain. The sun was declining beneath the blue sea. When I strayed with my love to the pure crystal fountain that stands in the beautiful vale of Cali, she was lovely and fair as the rose of the summer. Yet was not her beauty, hello, that won me. Oh no, 'twas the truth in her eye of adoring that made me love Mary, a rose of Frawley.
Bravo!